Hello guys, welcome back to the Roblox scripting tutorial series. Last video we discussed loops, and as always make sure to have a script in server script storage and make a new script and disable your other ones. I'm going to keep the breaks and continues within our loop scope or loop script because they're really about the same scoping really. And breaks and continues are ways to use our loops, and they are in our loops. They're little keywords that'll help us get out of a loop or skip a part of a loop. And let's actually use it right now. So a break just completely disintegrates the loop. And actually, let's do this, yeah. And then let's say, last video we had number, while number is not 5, let's say 7, right? And then we can say right here, if number is equal to 4, then break. And what this is going to do is once the number reaches 4, the loop is going to completely just break. It's going to just literally not even going to work anymore. So let's actually see it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. No 5, no 6, no 7, 6, 7. So that's it. It just goes up to 4. And the reason why it does this is because we said if it's 4, then break. And now you might be asking yourself, okay, why don't we just make it less than 4 instead of 7? Like, why do we have to do this? Why is this necessary? Well, that's just a showcase of like how this works. When you start making your actual projects, this is going to be pretty useful in some cases for some conditions. So it's really just conditionally breaking a loop if needed. So let's say we were getting to some high ass number, like to like 1,000,000. And then we said like if number is greater than 1,000 and player has already traveled this much, then let's just break out of the loop or something like that. That's how I think of it. I use RPG games for that, but a more practical case would be like 4i is equal to 0, 5 do. We could say like local part, don't be like me and misspell instance that new part. No, not a player. I want a new part. And then we could say like if I is equal to 3, because it's gonna add up by 1, then break and only get like the 3 parts. But obviously you would just do up till 3. So then we'd have to like put some condition to like, and player is in this area. Like, this would run in the background or something. And if player's in this certain area and it's like 3 or greater than 3 or greater than 2, then we'll break the loop or something like that. But just know, breaks just break out of loops and they completely just end it. The loop won't run anymore. A good way to use breaks is actually for error checking. So like if a player's dead or something and you're looping through him, and you can say like if player dead, then break. Then you'd break the loop because we don't want to loop through dead players. They died. They can't shoot. They can't fight. So a continue statement is literally like a break, except it just skips the loop for that iteration and then it continues to the next one. So here's what I mean. So if number is 4, no, I don't want a color sequence. If the number is 4, then it's gonna skip 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me. What? While number is less than 7, if number is equal to 4, script timeout. Oh, we broke the code. Sorry. Okay, maybe we shouldn't use a while loop for this. Maybe let's use a for loop. How about that? For loops are a little bit better for performance than while loops. So 5, and then we'll make this 10 actually do. And then I always do this. And then we'll actually just do this. So if I is equal to 5, then continue. And let's print out I so we can actually see what's happening. And there we go. Okay. Look at that. Now, okay, this is fast as hell. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's no 5. So what a for loop, what a continue statement does is it skips that iteration loop and goes on to the next one. So everything but that will run. And breaks, if the iteration is true, that condition is true, then it's going to completely disintegrate the loop. So if I said break instead of continue here, then the loop wouldn't even run past 6 or 5 actually. But since I put continue, the loop ran for everything but 5. That's what the continue statement really is saying. It's saying, oh shoot, we met this condition. Let's continue for this version of I, or this iteration of I, sorry. And you might be wondering, well, how are continue loops practical? How do we use this really in our games? Well, I'm not going to lie. I can count on one hand how many times I've used continues in my game. Now, that might not sound like a good thing, but there are many different ways to use continue statements. you're gonna be looping a lot through a lot of things, and it's really mainly for checking like conditions. So like if you're looping through like mobs in like a table or like a list, if you're going through every single mob and you're moving every mob. Let's say every mob move to, you know, whatever position, spawn port, whatever. Let's put this in English terms, right? And then you can say like if mob dead, then continue. We don't want a move a dead mob. We just, and we're looping, so but we don't want to break, because if we break just because a mob died, then every single other mob won't move anymore. Like, no. We'd continue because we don't want that mob specifically to keep moving. And that's really, I hope that doesn't overcomplicate. I know some people get tripped up on continues. Breaks are pretty easy. They just break out of the loop. But a continue is really just skipping through that loop. Yeah. A break breaks out the loop, and then continue really skips through this loop, this iteration. So we're going to skip 5 in this case. And that's really about it for breaks and continues. I mean, there's not really much to say about these. You are going to use breaks and continues like in your scripting like journey, but continues on the other hand, you might not use them a lot. You will use them, but mainly breaks really. But it's good to know both, because they're kind of like the inverse of each other. They undo each other really. They don't undo each other actually. I don't know what I'm saying, but they're intertwined. That's what I mean to say. Sorry, yeah. And that's really about it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one.